just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here.
Good morning. My name is Donna Schaffer, and I am your trustee today on duty. On behalf of the Board of Trustees and our practitioners, I am privileged to welcome you to the Sonoran Desert Center for Spiritual Living. Whoever you are, and wherever you are on your spiritual path, you are truly welcome here. Here you will be validated, supported, and encouraged to be all that you are meant to be. Our vision statement is love in action every day in every way. We express this love by learning and living the principles of the science of mind. On the back of our programs, you will find our Declaration of Principles. Please join me now in reading them. I believe there is an infinite intelligence operating throughout the universe. I believe this intelligent power is only good. I believe this intelligence expresses as me. I believe through my conscious use of this power, I create my life as happy, healthy, and complete, and so it is. Do we have any first-timers here today? If we do, would you please stand up and tell us where you're from and your name? From where? Okay.
Eureka? Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry. Yeah. The drummer.
My favorite daughter.
Yay, Emily. Is there anyone else that would like to be acknowledged? Okay. Welcome. Nice to have you here today. Anyone else? Okay. For those of you that are new, we invite you to stay after and get to know some of us. And thank you for coming. We would like to thank, in addition, all the people that have made this Sunday celebration possible. And first of all, to all of you who are sitting in those chairs. If you weren't here, it wouldn't be the same. And thank you to the ones who make sure everything is set up in a place for this gathering. Please direct your attention now to the announcements that are in your bulletin. And if you are watching online, please visit cslaz.org for our announcements and events calendar.
The God in me beholds the God in you. It is all for our greatest and highest good. The God in me beholds the God in you, and you and I are one. Namaste. The God in me beholds the God in you. It is all for our greatest and highest good. The God in me beholds the God in you, and you and I are one. Namaste. Namaste.
What other center in this country cares about each other the way we do? It's wonderful. So my name is Rosie Cline, for those of you who don't know me. I don't know who you are, but not many. Let me light our candle. This candle represents that beautiful God light that shines out of every person. And that sweet little boy in his bow tie, out of you too, my darling. Okay, let's take a breath for our invocation. There is one life, one infinite presence, one creative intelligence expressing itself through all creation. That presence is right here, right now. It is not distant. It is not withheld. It is the very life within us, the love between us, the wisdom that guides us, and the power for good that moves through everything. So we take this moment to become still, to remember who we are, and to know that each person here is a living expression of spirit. May our thoughts be lifted. May our hearts be softened. May our faith be strengthened. May this service be a channel for healing, joy, clarity, and love. We let go of anything that no longer serves us, and we make room for something new to be born in consciousness. So with deep gratitude, I release this word into the law, knowing it is already so. And so it is. Happy Mother's Day again. Probably to every person here, in some way, mothers, grandmothers, great-grandmothers, aunts, uncles, sisters, and friends. We've all had the opportunity to mother. Some of you mother me right now. And it's lovely. Not everyone had the same experience of mother. And not every Mother's Day is easy. But the mothering quality of spirit is always available. The divine still says, you are held, you are known, you are not alone. We think of mothers and those who mothered us because something in them lives on in our gestures, and our mannerisms and the way we cook and clean and so many more. You know, when you put your coat on and your mother's hands come out the sleeves, you know that you know that she's living in you. I have a story I have to share. Our friend Peggy said, "You must share that this morning." So my mother, I have countless stories to tell about her. But one, when she was a young teenager in Big Bear Lake, California, John Wayne and the John Wayne Cowboys made a number of films up there in the Pines. And I'm not quite sure how they got to know her, but she was the ultimate equestrian. And so they hired her to tend the horses. And because she was a stableman's daughter, she didn't have 2 pennies to rub together. The Cowboys got together and passed the hat and bought her Screen Actors Guild card, which allowed her to stunt ride and to double, and she had a wonderful time. So if I watch carefully, sometimes I see her. In the old movies, of course, the old movies. The old movies. Remember when we were young and they told us to stand up straight, tell the truth, do your homework, say thank you, and never leave the house without clean underwear on, just in case. Or the dreaded, "Don't make me come in there." A woman once said, "I finally realized my mother was not trying to control me. She was trying to bless me in the only language she knew." Many of us remember mother love arriving in very practical forms like, "Take a sweater, call me when you get there." In Science of Mind, love is not merely emotion. Love is a creative power, moving through thought, word, action, and intention. Many of us remember mother love arriving in practical forms. And in Science of Mind, love is not merely emotion. Am I repeating myself? I am. It's one of those Sundays. Oh, moving right along. A mother may not have used spiritual language, but often she was practicing spiritual principle without naming it. She held an idea of wholeness for us before we could hold it for ourselves. And isn't that what treatment does? It knows the truth before the appearance shows up. Sometimes I think mothers were among the first practitioners many of us knew. They did not always say, "Let us now do affirmative prayer," but they treated in their own way. They saw our possibility. They expected us to rise. They declared things over us with great authority, like, "You're not going to leave this house looking like that, are you?" But underneath it was a deeper knowing. You are loved. You are capable. You belong to life. There is more in you than you know. That is spiritual mind treatment in everyday clothes. We often speak of God as Father, but the divine is never limited to one image, as we know. The infinite includes all qualities, strength and tenderness, wisdom and warmth, law and love, Father, Mother, God. This Mother's Day, we are not worshiping human motherhood. We are honoring the one beautiful way the divine expresses as nurture, protection, encouragement, patience, and unconditional welcome. And so it is. Just a little something to close. This comes from Ernest Holmes' The Science of Mind, 1938 edition. Page 445.3, if any of you have that old book. Reverend Donna isn't today, but she gave me that book. Okay. Peace does not come by proxy. No one else can live our spiritual life for us. We each turn within, remember the presence, and allow that peace to press outward into expression as kindness, steadiness, faith, and love. Thank you, sweethearts. I love you. I'm going to take our candle now and hold the high watch. Remember, that little box is calling. Put your prayer request in there, because that's what we do best. That's why we have a license. So we can pray for you and we can counsel you. Not counsel, but guide you.
Stephen and I talk about our mothers all the time. Boy, do we. We do. My goodness. You know, even though it's been a few years since we've both lost them now at this point, but it's been a few years. But the things that stick with us are my mom's isms. She had a bunch of them. One was, excuse me, one was one of my favorites. Time to do something different. Time to do something different, Heath. She'd always say that. You know, I'd call her up or text her complaining. She loved to text. So, you know, and then she'd listen, or, you know, let me flood the box with a bunch of words. And then she'd go, just time to do something different, Heath. And a lot of times I did. And another one was, if you don't laugh, you cry. Another one was, wash your face, you'll feel better. Mm-hmm. Yep. Eat a peck of dirt before you die. You know, something fall on the floor. Eat a peck of dirt before you die. And another one, I know. Yeah. Yeah. Stephen's laughing because he remembered his mom saying stuff like this.
Yeah, you'd see something fall on the floor. You just wipe it off.
Yeah. Yeah. And another one was, love always finds a way. And it just so happens that Karen Drucker has a song called Love Always Finds a Way. So that's the one we're going to do for you today. When you're losing your way, when it's too much to take, when your will is broken, I'm here. I can be your shelter, be your safe place to land. When your heart feels empty, I'm here. I have enough love for both of us. I know it's gonna be okay. I have enough love for both of us, 'cause love love always finds a way. Where the future's unknown and the path's overgrown, I will cradle your soul. Don't fear. Though you don't have the answers, may not know where to go, what you need is inside you. Just trust. You know I have enough love for both of us. I know it's gonna be okay. I have enough love for both of us, 'cause love always finds a way. Yes, love always finds a way. I'm your light in the storm. I'm your call to come home. I'm your beacon of hope. You can count on me. You can count on me. I have enough love for both of us. I know it's gonna be okay. I have enough love for both of us, 'cause love always finds a way. Yes, love always finds a way. Yes, love always finds a way. Yes, love always finds a way. Thank you. Namaste. Happy Mother's Day.
Thanks, Heather and Stephen and Rosie. I miss this place. Thank you. I can't begin to describe the energy. And it's how I felt the first time when we came undercover and sat in the back. 70 years ago, I was the boy in the bow tie. I had to wear a bow tie every Sunday morning. And then when my dad tried to get me in regular long ties, I shouldn't tell this, but he finally figured out how to teach me to tie them when I was 17 going to college. So every morning, Dad put a tie on me, tied it. I think for a long time, tied my shoes. Put burl cream in my hair. And off to church I went. I appreciate Donna talking about mother, not tied specifically to gender. One of my great recollections with my youngest daughter, Sarah, when I picked her up at preschool, Sarah saw me and said, "Hi, Mom." I mean, Dad. And what a joy it was. And I am the mother to 2 dogs, 2 boys. I've had 2 girls, now I have 2 boys, 4-legged ones. May is a month of memory. Today is Mother's Day, and Memorial Day is coming later in the month, which was called originally Decoration Day, as it served to honor the soldiers who died in the Civil War, and today serves as sort of the unofficial kickoff for summer. Mother's Day has an interesting history. Ancient Greeks held festivals for Rhea, Mother of the Gods, while early Christians in Britain celebrated Mothering Sunday, a day for visiting the main Mother Church or returning home on the 4th Sunday of Lent. an American, Anne Reeves Jarvis, created Mother's Day work clubs in the 1850s to educate local women on child care, sanitation, health to combat high infant mortality rates. Following the Civil War, she organized Mother's Friendship Day to unite mothers on both sides of the conflict. After her mother died in 1905, Anna Jarvis, her daughter, sought to fulfill her mother's desire to have a day that honored the sacrifices that mothers have made. On May 10th, 1908, Anna organized the first official Mother's Day. Bruce at Andrews Methodist Church in Grafton, West Virginia. Then, following a letter-writing campaign, Woodrow Wilson signed a proclamation in 1914 establishing the second Sunday in May as Mother's Day, declaring it a public expression of love and reverence. Now, any minister, any preacher worth his salt will tell you you speak on Mother's Day if you have a church. And if you don't, you won't have a church. I quickly learned when I returned to ministry in 1988 who my church moms were, intuitively. I'd grown up with church moms. Both my parents were on the platform on Sundays, so the boy in the bow tie sat on every church mom's lap during the service. They had those pop beads, and I pulled those beads, pop them. I was loved. Probably one of my favorite church moms was in the little church I had in Mojave, California. And my mother had trained me well about using bathroom facilities. You put the paper down, even if it's in the church. And I had just literally flown in 16 miles from the other church, driving fast to get there. And I went into the restroom and put on my robe, and Estelle, my church mom, who sat in the back, said, "Charles, you have a tail." Thank God for church moms. I don't know about you, but when I was a boy in a bow tie in Yakima, Washington in the 50s, and there are 3 of us from Yakima here today, Susan and Bruce. I think Yakima in the 50s was a town of about 50,000. And Bruce's mother taught at my school, Nob Hill School. Small world. I don't know about you, but when my parents and I dressed for church on Mother's Day, my parents wore white carnation boutonnieres, and I wore a red one. The carnations were symbols. Red symbolized life, white death. My parents both wore white carnations because their mothers had passed. More importantly, as I think back on it now, white signified both my grandmother's presence amidst their absence. They were with us. They were not forgotten. They were remembered for their enduring presence in all our lives. I wore red because my mother at the time was very much alive, present, not absent. I want to share some thoughts with you today on absence, presence, and rebirth. 3 concepts I have been struggling and dealing with on grief and loss since March 1st and Rhonda's passing. Absence. Dietrich Bonhoeffer was a Lutheran pastor, teacher, scholar, spoke out against Adolf Hitler, and the Nazi regime. He was put in prison. And from prison, his writing continued with many papers and letters. On Christmas Eve, 1943, Bonhoeffer wrote in his letters to a friend the following thoughts about separation. I wish I could say something to help you in the time of separation which lies immediately ahead. There is no need to speak about its difficulties, but I've learned something about it myself during the last 9 months of confinement. Having been separated during that time for all those I love, I should like to pass it on to you. Quote, nothing can make up for the absence of someone we love. Nothing can make up for the absence of someone whom we love. It is nonsense to say that God fills the gap. God doesn't fill it, but on the contrary, God keeps it empty, and so helps us to keep alive our former communion with each other, even at the cost of pain. The dearer and richer our memories, the more difficult the separation. Presence. Jeff Stone recently wrote the following about presence and absence. We tend to think, he wrote, that presence is the real thing, the entity, the person, the object, the moment. Something is there, like you are in front of me. Absence is, by contrast, what's missing. The empty chair, the silent phone, the past memory, the future promise. But as recent scholarship suggests, presence and absence are not merely opposites. They are interwoven, each giving shape and meaning to the other. Presence and absence are not two separate territories. They are entwined, partners in the dance of being. Presence becomes meaningful because of absence. Absence becomes tangible because of presence. The lives we lead, the relationships we hold, all rest in that liminal space between what is and what is not. To live deeply is to be aware of both, to feel the living person here and the echo of the person gone, to hear the sound of music playing and the silence between the notes, to notice the chair empty, the echo in the hallway, the absence of footsteps, because those absences tell us something profound about presence. And most of us, if we're honest, detest those absences. John Donne was an English poet and a preacher widely regarded as the leading figures of the metaphysical poets of the 17th century. The term metaphysical was coined for the first time in the discussion of these poets. These metaphysical poets greatly influenced the masses by fusing new ideas with old orthodox ways. And especially, they emphasized the significance of spiritual connection with God. Donne's poems in particular suggest that absence enhances the presence of love or longing. Absence is not merely a lack of presence, but a space that makes the emotional connection more vivid, real, and meaningful. By incorporating elements of psychology and logic, John Donne was saying that the absence of a lover implies that he can catch or meet her at any point in his memory. He has a reservoir of fond memories of her that he can turn to per his desire and convenience. We think of our mothers like that too. This enormous fund of memories. When I spoke for my father at my dad's church, he never introduced me as Charles Barfoot, but he introduced me as my mother's son. That was a high honor. The poet said, like a rich man who collects valuable objects and takes them out at his leisure and displays them, plays with them, fingers them, touches them, whatever he does with these objects of his desire, that is what our memories do with our loved ones who have passed. It's enabled him to celebrate his love while he misses his lover simultaneously. Presence in absence. When my mother died in 1983, I not only spoke at her funeral, but 5 years later, I went into ministry. At her funeral, it was the first time I had spoken, let alone been in a church, in many years. Sundays for me were comprised of Bloody Mary brunches and blue cheeseburgers without the bacon. And oftentimes, when I came back to the church, I felt my mother's presence standing next to me on my left side. The Mojave Church especially, when those fierce winds would blow and the building would quiver. Jeanette, my previous wife, passed 6 years ago today, on Mother's Day. It was fitting. I remember as a boy when my mother was taken to the hospital and never came back healthy. And a month or two later, my dad were giving out all her high heels and purses, yes, furs, to the Salvation Army. And I'd go upstairs and I'd see my mother's possessions going away. And then when I met Jeanette, I was not looking for my mother, but in many ways, I found the best of mothering before she got sick. She had all the high heels. She had all the pocketbooks. Mother had come back to life. Jeanette died 6 years ago today, about 3 a.m. And several days later, upon waking up, I felt a sudden presence at her side of the bed. It was a kind of blue chiffon, a rustling, a sudden mini whirlwind. And Jeanette was always accused of being a dust devil because everywhere she went, all hell broke loose. She was the Energizer Bunny. And I felt that whirlwind of activity, and then the presence was gone. I have yet to experience the presence of Ronnie, and perhaps for the following reason. In many traditions, spirits are believed to remain close to loved ones, sometimes acting as protectors or silent observers. These emotional connections are considered strong enough to delay the soul's journey, suggesting that the depth of human feeling extends beyond physical existence. Amen. Steve, however, shared with me last Sunday a vision he had of Rhonda leaving her body, and I'd like for Steve to share that now.
Are you wondering why I'm up here? I have an experience that I want to share with you folks. It's probably the most profound experience, spiritual experience I've ever had in my life. And I know that I'm supposed to be up here today talking about it. It won't take long, and I'm going to give you the abridged version. So I invite you into a conversation with Heather and I that we had at the end of February. So I'm out there having my coffee. Heather's having her coffee. And I say to her, last night I was praying for Ronnie, and I witnessed something that I still can't believe is real. So she said, what? I said, well, I was praying for her. I closed my eyes, and I had this vision of Ronnie, but it wasn't her face. It was Ronnie laying down on a hospital bed, quiet, still. She looked like she was sleeping. So I stopped praying, and I'm just focused on what I'm watching. And I see her laid out. Seconds later, I see a translucent form rise up from her chest, just rise, sort of bent over and came over her. Looked like she was sitting. Now, she had form, but she was translucent. I can't really explain it that well, but that's the best I can do. So she sat or stood, I couldn't really tell. She's moving her head, and it wasn't Ronnie's face. It was an outline. I just barely, but I knew it was her. I saw it rise up out of her body. And I'm focused and I'm looking at this, and I'm stunned by it, but I'm just enthralled. I'm there with her because I had so wanted to be with Ronnie in the hospital. I wanted to see her, and we weren't able to. And I kept praying about it and really wanting to see her. We had a special connection, Ronnie, myself, and Heather. We would talk for hours on the phone. We'd have these great spiritual conversations, and some not so spiritual, but they were fantastic. And we were growing to really love her, not only as a person and our new reverend, but as a dear friend. And so when she got sick, Heather and I both just wanted to go visit her, hold her hand, maybe pray for her, whatever. Well, I did get to see her. It was around 4:30 in the morning in February, and I witnessed her rising, her spirit rising up, and I witnessed her shake her head a little bit, and she was just like, not sure where she was. And then she looked straight ahead, and it's not her face, but it's an outline, and I know it's her. And she looks directly at me, and there was a little smirk, like a smile, if you know that smirk that Ronnie had, right? And it was awesome. Then she turned sideways, and I'm not going to do it because I'm not going to do the dance. But she started dancing. And she's moving like this. That's as far as I'm going to go. And then she did other things. She's going back and forth a little bit. And then she's gone. So I told Heather all this, and I thought, okay, I must have imagined this. Nothing like this has ever happened to me before. So I just sat there with Heather. We had our coffee. A few minutes later, Melinda calls, and Melinda says, Ronnie's passed. Well, we were so grief-stricken and so sad. And I'm sure all of you felt that way when you found out her passing. So I told Heather, I says, we got to call Kay. If anybody knows what's going on, Kay knows what's going on. She does. So we called Kay. And Kay talks to us, and she's comforting us and giving us all the information that she can give us. And I wasn't going to tell Kay about what I saw, but something told me you should. So I did. And when I finished, and I told her how I saw Ronnie just dancing out, Kay said something to me, and what she said to me is the only reason why I'm standing up here before you today. If I did not have confirmation that what I saw was actual fact, I wouldn't be up here right now, because I would have thought it's my imagination. But it's not my imagination, because Kay told me that Ronnie said to her, "I'm gonna dance my way out of this hospital." Namaste.
I think it was the same day, on February 27th, Kay and I left Ronnie's ICU room, headed for the parking garage to find my car. I couldn't remember where I put it. And when we got into Kay's car, she pointed at her digital clock that read 444. I've been told 4 is my number, but seeing 444 together is often interpreted as a message from your guardian angels or the universe indicating that you are being watched over, supported in your life journey. It serves as a reminder that you are not alone and that divine forces are guiding you toward your higher purpose, offering reassurance, hope, protection during times of uncertainty and transition. A presence and an absence. Finally, these life-changing events can lead to a rebirth of our very selves. A hero of mine is Howard Thurman, African-American minister, civil rights activist, academic. His book, With Head and Heart, chronicles his career, the events of his life. Tragedy, too, overshadowed good fortune early on in Thurman's life. His first wife, Katie, was in poor health, and shortly after he moved with her and their small daughter to Atlanta, Georgia, to begin work at Morehouse College, Katie passed. The meaning of sorrow came home to Thurman in its starkest possible terms. It was intimately personal now, not a concept. It hovered over and dwelt within him. He obtained a year's leave of absence from Morehouse, sent his daughter to stay with her grandmother, went to Haverford College to study with Rufus Jones. It was the turning point in his life. Jones taught him in the meaning of mysticism and the Quaker method of meditation. Thurman then remarried a former student and went on to an incredible ministerial and academic career. Wherever man has the scent of eternal unity, Thurman wrote, and the spirit, he hunts for it. He hunts for it in his home, in his work, among his friends, in his pleasures and all the levels of his function. It is my simple faith that this is the kind of universe that sustains that kind of adventure. And what we are tumbling towards now, tomorrow, will be the way of life for everybody. And what we are tumbling towards now, Thurman's tomorrow, can be right here, right now, the way of life for everyone. God's life, one life. Perhaps the following poem summarizes today's message and says it best. On May 15th, 1910, Henry Scott Holland of Oxford University gave the message while King Edward VII was lying in state, and it is often referred to by the title, Death is Nothing at All. Death is nothing at all, it does not count. I've only slipped away into the next room, sometimes skipping. Nothing has happened. Everything remains exactly as it was. I am I and you are you. And the old life that we lived so fondly together is untouched and unchanged. Whatever we were to each other, we are still. Call me by the old familiar name. Speak of me in the easy way which you always used to. Laugh as we laughed at the little jokes and we enjoyed together. Play, smile, think of me, and pray for me. Life means all that it was ever meant. It is the same as it ever was. There is an absolute and unbroken community, continuity. Why should I be out of mind? Because I am out of sight. I'm but waiting for you, somewhere very near, just around the corner. All is well. Nothing is hurt. Nothing is lost. We know and affirm in this community of faith, on this day of memory, that nothing is ever lost in the mind of God or in our hearts, since our minds and our hearts are one. As Dietrich Bonhoeffer concluded in his Christmas Eve letter to a friend, and this is what happened to me when Ronnie passed. I was in the hospice alone with her body, and I felt the story of Job's comforters. Just curse God and die. Be bitter. You only had 4 years and 4 months. What the hell is that? Too short. And then, deep within, this well of gratitude flowed out of my being. I stood at the foot of her bed and gave thanks to God for 4 years, for 4 months. As Bonhoeffer says, gratitude converts the pangs of memory into tranquil joy. The beauties of the past are not endured as a thorn in the flesh, but as a gift precious for its own sake. We must not wallow in our memories or surrender to them, just as we don't gaze all the time at a valuable present like Ronnie gave to me, but we get it out from time to time, and for the rest, hide it away as a treasure we know is there all the time. Treated in this way of gratitude, the past and our partners in our past can give us lasting joy and inspiration. And so it is.
Can I say something before you right now? I really feel this. Charles, you're such a strong man to be able to get up and speak the way you spoke about your wife as she passed. And you inspire me, my brother. You do. And we are so glad that you're here. You are so welcome and loved here. Just know that, okay?
All right. So if you are called to stand, you're welcome to do so for our next song. This is off of I believe it's my 2018 album, Joy in All Seasons. And it's called You Are My Mirror. Lovely, simple chant for us.
You are my mirror. It is now time to share in our prosperity. Please go with me in the opening offering affirmation. My gift goes forth to heal, prosper, and bless all that it touches. It is evidence of my conviction that God is the source and substance of my supply. I share generously of my good, knowing that it returns to me multiplied abundantly, and so it is. Eternal Spirit, Mother God, bless these offering and gifts from your people, for we truly are blessed, so blessed, and so it is.
And so it is.
I feel like I'm just warming up. I think I could go a couple more. You bring out whatever's in there.
Yeah.
Not only do I feel at home, I feel so connected.
Amen. That's awesome.
Unbelievable.
Awesome.
But now it's time to circle up.
Yeah.